Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, sweet. I think we are. I think we're good then. All right, sweet. Okay, we're here. Official introduction. This is Joesthetics. He decided to who's able to join me for a podcast, which is awesome, and I'm stoked to get into some. I don't know. Like, I don't know how much you've talked about some of this stuff before. I don't think I've ever seen you really dig into some of your personal life details and whatnot, some like your history, and I think everyone would love to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff to do with dating life, where you're born, why you moved to Thailand. I don't know, all that kind of stuff. Like just from the beginning, you were born in Germany, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, first up, hey everyone, 1 second. Nikki, no music, please.
No worries.
Yeah, first up, hey everyone. Like, nice to be in the podcast here with Derek. I mean, obviously, I watch your stuff since ages. Very informative, probably one of the best channels for fitness and bodybuilding. First was really more about knowledge and knowledge and knowledge. Now you understand a bit more about the entertainment part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you make it more interesting, and yeah, really cool videos to watch. And yeah, today we're going to talk a bit about whatever you want to touch on. Anything. I'm pretty open with anything. I don't mind talking about, let's say, forbidden topics.
Yeah. Awesome.
I don't mind to say like what I'm doing,
Mhm.
but the truth is, some people might be a bit shocked, like, oh my God, why are people doing these things? But it's like, everything is personal choice. I'm like, how can I say, I have a high tolerance for stuff. Let's say some people are using steroids, some people they don't use steroids. It's this is the same thing. Like some people are sexually attracted to this part of the population. Some people like this. So people having really different kind of like what is it called?
Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different.
Different preferences.
How
Yeah.
can I say? Yeah, and I wouldn't judge people just based on like some things that you see online.
Yeah.
That's all. Let's say just real quick. It's always really easy to hate on people, and we don't know the background about stuff, right? So by seeing a few videos of someone online that wouldn't really tell you about the background of his life and everything, and maybe this guy is quite humble and everything, but in one video your reaction is quite weird. So that's why people, it's not easy online to judge. Yeah, the dating life and all that stuff. That's actually a good part because your channel would in the first place be called More Plates, More Dates.
Yeah.
And so it's cool and probably to touch on that. And it's really a good topic to talk about because in Thailand, this is a really good topic to talk about, like in terms of like dating with women and all that stuff. I mean, not that I'm big into this. I have a girlfriend, just to say this real quick, but
I don't
there's
think many people
unlimited.
even knew that until recently. Like, is this
Yeah.
a new thing or what?
It's yeah, to be honest, it's kind of new thing, man. Holy fuck! But I'm really happy that I have her. To be honest, she helped me a lot with my injury now because my arm was immobilized and stuff. So yeah, but I think let's go through the questions. I think you set up a bit of a list with stuff that you wanted to talk about in terms of.
Yeah. I
Uh,
was just
we,
interested. Like, you've obviously been traveled a decent amount, and I know you were born in Germany. Like, what was it like living there, and like what compelled you to move to Thailand in the first place? Like, some of that would be good
ah,
too.
so the thing is, I'm from Germany, yeah, but I'm from such a small town in Germany where there's just literally nothing going on much.
Yeah.
Then so the whole story is like this. So back in the days, I would work a normal job, like everyone probably like works a normal job. I was learning a technical draftsman in the first place after school, and then I fell out, made some further educations, then worked jobbing here and there, but always like had a hard time with my boss. Always like I always felt like it's would better to invest time into myself and do something like being self-employed. But yeah, and after that, my Instagram thing went bigger, and that's why when I started to think about like maybe I should do this full time. Maybe I
But
should
this
do
was
this
like
full
you were
time.
doing the Instagram thing while you were still in Germany working in
So
the.
let's start it up more early. So at one point, I was doing a competition prep. That was also the first time when I ever took steroids. Right, I started to cycle back in the days,
Yeah.
and back in the days also I already had my Instagram. So I just kept posting and documenting the journey of like getting ready, bulking, and then off season, and then shredding and cutting, just for this like one competition, like a road to stage kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then build up my Instagram slowly, but nothing really happened. So build it up, like maybe I made it until 90K something, was stagnating there for a year because I went off cycle as well then, and I was like off for a year, so there was not much going on. But in terms of like posting, I mean, why the heck is someone calling me right now? And yeah, so then I had the Alien Gains thing, right? This chest twitch. But it all happened. I was at a photo shoot in Austria.
Yeah.
And then the guy would make the pictures and stuff, and I would have the cramps. And then I was like, let's do it for a video. Uploads the video, and had in a 1 hour was like 150,000 views, which back in the days was massive, bro. Was big.
Yeah.
Then it went really viral, and it was taking like 3-4 million views. Then on Facebook, people would reshare it. Like Lad Bible is a big page.
Oh yeah.
A sports Bible, like all these pages on Facebook would reshare it. Like so many people would reshare the video, but without telling it's me or without giving any credits to me. So there was already, when it first posted ever, was already like 20 million views on my neck, which no one knew that it was really me. Anyways, it still made like 150,000 followers. From 90 to 150 overnight.
Jesus.
Then I made it until like 200. Yep, that was. Then I kept posting another of these videos, which then also went viral. So I actually posted 3 in a row, which all kind of went viral. After that, the story is like this. I always wanted to make money with it. So I was applying for another job in Berlin, but then I got the job even. But at the same time, Body Engineers back in the days made an offer to sponsor me as an athlete, which was even more money than the job was paying me though. So I was like, why the fuck should I? Why should I go with this job when I can do something that I wanted to do anyways, like being an athlete and building my Instagram more up?
Mm-hmm.
Then one of my mates from Switzerland was like, bro, come here and we're gonna do this together. And then him was like, let's go to Thailand, man. I'm just like, yeah, okay. He's like, it's fucking good, and let's go for 3 months. And it's straight up 3 months, you know. And I was never really in holidays, man. Because my parents, they always went to holidays when I was at school, because my birthday is in January. Yeah. And my parents, they have a bricks company. So they, in winter time, they always had kind of free. So they always went to holidays during my birthday. So I was never really traveling much. And then he was like, let's go to Thailand, man. 3 months, let's do it. So we are booking in the flights and all that, going to Thailand. And he was just then really ruining the whole relationship, because this guy was just keep lying to me, and I was like, man, it's about business and we want to push here together and blah blah, and he would just lie like a holy moly, bro. So I was like, fuck this dude, and I'm leaving him. So I went on my own, Bangkok, was there, then met some people, this and that, and that's literally what kicked it off. The real reason that I'm in Thailand is not that something is pretty special there or cool there or whatever. It's only the fact that I was getting there first when I first started to travel. And then I just hit up there and I liked it, and it was warm weather. So it really supported everything that I wanted to do. Create content, do your bodybuilding stuff, and just like living in peace. No one judges you. You can wear whatever the heck you want, man. Here in the Buddhists, brother, are more open-minded. Like everyone is more tolerant. You know, here in Thailand, they have all these transgender people, and it's very wild, man. It's wild, but it's more accepted. So everything is accepted. You could wear a clown costume on the street. People would once look, that's it. But everywhere else in the world, they would look and then judge and then talk shit and all that bullshit. So the vibes in Thailand are really, really good. And then that is really what made me staying here all the time. That it's just like, okay, I can do my videos, I can do my training. Then people said, yeah, it's because there's such good gear in Thailand. That's why you're I'm just like, right, big time, not the fact, because it's so much fake stuff as well. So it's not really that people say like, yeah, these guys all go to Thailand because they have such good gear there. I would have stayed in another country. I'm not going to say that. But there's better places to be when it comes to gear, definitely.
Yeah. So how many years ago was that when you did the first trip?
2018. 2018 it was.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And then since then, it was just always me going back and forward. Because, I mean, obviously I met some women when I was there and all that stuff, but nothing that would really hold me back. So I would go to Germany, work, this, and just travel a bit. And I liked it in Thailand, so I was just always going there, but no specific reason, to be honest, like no specific reason. Just one big reason: in my small city where I'm from in Germany, it was so bad for me somehow, and I really didn't like it. It's really hard to get along there. You need a car, and nothing is going on. So I was like, why should I waste my time in the city? I can't really even do nice content like with the bodybuilding stuff. And it was really about having a warm environment where it's like you can 24/7 go outside in your underwear literally, and it's warm, it's nice weather, nice people, nice vibes. And that was what it was all about. That's the reason why I went. And then 2018, then just like I said, go to Germany, stay there a bit, come back, and then just always traveled. I've been in Bali and Singapore and like Vietnam and around Asia. I've never been to the US, which I need to do.
Yeah,
and that's literally it. Yeah. And Canada is where I want to
go. Yeah. Hopefully the travel restrictions are not too insane, because definitely want to make that happen soon. For Gorilla Mind as well as Young LA, that would be a good collaboration for sure. So you've been like I guess you went to Dubai recently too. Like how do some of the different places compare, like Thailand versus Dubai versus
I have a very good comparison when it comes to this.
Okay.
Let's say Dubai is almost like Thailand, but just more high class. Like everything is more high class. To be honest, Dubai life is absolutely insane. I was also very lucky that I met all these people which I met, and that I saw all these things that I was able to see, and I went to all these places. It's massive, but it's also a lot money consuming. It's kind of expensive. Whatever you do, it's kind of pricey.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Let's say compare it to Thailand. You also have the warm weather and all that stuff. But sorry, just had to make sure that nothing is burning.
No worries.
In the kitchen, man. So let's say the weather is good in Dubai and in Thailand.
Yeah.
But you have much more freedom in Thailand. That's what I need to say. I can't just go on a beach walk, take my shirt off, and do whatever the heck I want in Dubai, because it would be securities. It's not that accepted that you are shirtless. And let's say Dubai is super nice, but it's very strict. You have nothing, like there's no drugs and stuff allowed anyways, right? So like not even like, not talking about narcotics, but I'm just talking about anything in general. So it's very, very limited in terms of like freedom. You must be able to do anything else. But let's say when it comes to, like I said, just having a beach walk, being shirtless and getting a tan at the same time, you wouldn't be able to do this. And that's where I compare it with Thailand. Then the people are nice in Dubai, the people are nice in Thailand. The cost of living in Thailand versus Dubai is much less in Thailand, but it's also less clean. Dubai is super clean city. It's very nice. It's impressive. It's definitely worth to go there for holidays and see it and stay there for 1-2 weeks and watch all that stuff. But then after this, for me, I was just like kind of missing out of this kind of freedom where I just really like, or you go with your motorbike. That's what you can do in Thailand. You can drive your motorbike without the helmet or anything. Like let's say here in Thailand, it's more like this. As long as the police doesn't catch you, you might get away with it, you know?
Right.
So as long as bro, I'm telling you, here would be a family of 4 driving on one scooter.
Jesus.
And there's like overpacked. They drive next to the policeman, which the policeman is just going home from his shift right now, and he's just beyond everything. He sees he doesn't give a fuck, bro. He just drives. Like as long as you kind of respect the law and everything, no one is gonna bother you with anything. Like you can wear whatever you want, you can look however you want, you can do pretty much everything as long as you respect the law and just respect the people. But freedom wise, I would say it's a bit better in Thailand. You also have nice possibilities to travel to all these islands and all that stuff, but both have its benefits and its downsides.
Right. What about the women from each place, like German women versus Thailand women versus Dubai, all the different places? How do they differ?
I have to be honest, I found it quite difficult in Dubai to meet with normal girls. Or even to meet like someone, because it's really that I have this, I don't know if I can touch on this too much, but let's say in Dubai, there's also some things about women going on, you know? And so I was always wondering, like
a lot of them are like paid to be there versus like just normal girls kind of thing. And you don't know what's going on with them. sort of thing. Yeah.
Kind of like that. So like there would be a lot of women in Dubai where you just don't really know how they afford all this. That's all I want to say. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
And so you never really know when you meet someone, like
If it's a
what is
genuine girl
their
or if it's like something's going on.
something like that.
Yeah.
So in Thailand, let's be honest, it's even worse in Thailand, man. but there's like, it's more accepted and more open about this. So meeting girls in Germany versus Dubai versus Thailand, yeah, the European women are much different to the Asian women, of course, right?
Yeah.
Say usually in Germany, you would have girls, but everyone would have their own job and would have their own life and would be like kind of busy with their own stuff. And you then might meet in the evenings or might meet on the weekends. Where in Thailand, many of these girls, maybe they having more free time to spend with you. That's why they also want your support somehow.
Right. Yeah.
And but on the other side, they are like, how can I say, it was much easier to find women here. Technique. This is why I need to make a video about this anyway. So let's say you have problems with your confidence and you are having problems talking to women and all that. I saw you doing the cold approach video and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Come to Thailand, bro. Just come here and really go out in these bars where these girls approach you. You don't need to do anything, man. Trust me. You just go there and you just look good and you will find happiness.
That's wild.
It's not. So the thing is, compare clubbing to Germany. Here in Thailand, you would see a girl and you would just go there and you would just talk and they're just kind of open and everything and just like. And in Germany, the girls, they stand in the club. They would look at you arrogant, just like, yeah, like much less open. That's what I mean. Much less open. And let's say the thing is that this Tony was talking about this, like sex is a bit of a different thing here in Thailand. It's like it's not that like, oh my God, these guys talking about doing it. Like everyone is more like over this stuff. Like, oh yeah, it's just right. Yeah. So it's not that. So you would meet a girl and you would just like whatever, talk with her and straight up come to the point and you would be down and just like, yeah, maybe let's go. While in Germany, if you do that, everyone would immediately be like,
a lot more judgmental in Germany and a lot more like,
yeah.
You have to be a bit more careful about how you go about things and how you talk, and you have to go out of your way to walk up to them, obviously, and everything. Which that's interesting. But I knew they were more open in Thailand, but I didn't know they literally like fucking walked up to you. That's crazy.
I mean, true. I mean, this depends. I don't know about other people, but if I go to these streets where the bars are, bro, they almost eat me up, man. Like, it's hard for me to pass through without like these girls would touch my dick, slap my ass. They would take my hand and pull me into. They would pull you into bar and stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. But you don't know. Maybe it's also not a girl, man, because sometimes there's also these guys look like girls, and it's very hard to tell the difference sometimes. That's what you need to be careful to not on mistake go home with the wrong guy.
Yeah, I think Tony's talked about that before for sure. Many times,
especially in the clubs, bro, when you are drinking and it's dark and all that stuff, man. How would you know? You're going home and then you get a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. So like when you moved to Thailand, it was 2018. So you were still like just in your like blowing up phase on Instagram. So like back then, obviously you're living, I don't know if it's in the exact same city or just like the same general area, but in terms of dating in 2018 versus in 2021, no matter which location you're in, if you're in Dubai, if you're in here, if you're in Germany, like what's it like now that you're like Instagram famous versus before?
Yeah, that is a big problem, to be honest. Like, in my opinion, I would always like people not even to know anything about that, because it has this weird touch to it. It's still like if you have like 1 million followers on Instagram, it's somehow, I don't know why women, they think like this, but it would be similar that if a guy tells you, hey, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Like, you are rich and I'm famous. Like, I'm not famous, man. I don't believe I'm famous at all, bro. I mean, I'm maybe a bit popular, but for being famous, I wouldn't consider myself as being, because like what, like it's just me. But it's definitely that other people give it more value. And it's really difficult because I know people from back in the days, they would treat me like this. And then all of a sudden you become someone and then they completely treat you different and kind of treat you better. And you just wonder like, why would you do this all of a sudden? You get my point?
Yeah.
And also with the women, it's like, in the best case, they don't even see that, right? So in the best case, you meet someone in real life and just approach her and just have a small talk. And then maybe later on, like besides, she already likes you and she already is into you, and then finds out about that.
Yeah.
It's 10 times better
Yeah.
than some gold digger, like they just like text you anyways because you already are someone, because it's not about that, like I also can definitely tell you like that I have, or like the body I have and all the bullshit about me is just the tip of the iceberg. But what really makes me is the person that I am. Like that is the best about me is like who I am and not just how I look or what I accomplished in life.
Yeah. So like obviously now when you meet a girl for the first time, you're hoping she doesn't know about your Instagram, I'm assuming, because then you don't know off the bat if she's there for the right reasons or if she's just there because low key this guy's famous, he's potentially rich as well, he's potentially so do you have like a screening process or something, or like how do you go about like you just like hope they don't know who you are, or like how do you kind of like maneuver that situation? You just like wait as long as possible to bring it up, or how do you do that?
Let's say even let's just take my recent case here, right? So
like how'd you meet her, for example?
I wouldn't know that she knows already about my Instagram.
Right.
But she would know me already. She saw me and all that bullshit, and then somehow comes like with I texted her, and then obviously it's like it's clear. So, but beside that, how can I say? Better you meet some girl maybe in the gym, and then but nowadays, as everyone has Instagram, and if I'm just in some place and I'm posting and you are into fitness and you're liking fitness stuff, it will recommend you my postings. I know a lot of people getting quite annoyed with my content because Instagram would keep recommending it to them all the time. So that was also what happened to girls. So many, maybe they don't like me or whatever, but they would already have seen me somewhere. So for many, like say, I'm also into fitness, and if I would date some girl, I would also be looking for that she's kind of into fitness because it's just such a massive part of my life. So she gotta be okay with me spending so much time for gym stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And then they would be into fitness, then they have some social media, and then they would already saw some video about me. So it's kind of hard to be incognito, but which obviously is kind of a nice point for me. So everyone who can take advantage of being kind of like a bit popular and use this to your advantage to date more girls and all that stuff, okay, man, go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. So like when it comes to the whole, you say you're not famous, but like, I guess like Instagram famous, like, did you find people who were in your life before that treated you different too? Like close friends of yours from Germany and even like family members and stuff like that? Or has everyone been pretty cool?
Yeah, I mean, let's say my family, they never supported this at all, bro. In the first place, when I first started to do this Instagram, and I told them like, guys, I will make some money with this one day. And they just like, should go work a regular job, son. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then I remember, man, I said to my dad, like, look, these guys, they pay me this much for me posting a picture online. And my dad was just, he wouldn't believe it. And he's like, yeah. So they would have never really supported me in this way and always told me to do something different. And then at one point, this is the only thing, like at one point they see like, maybe they see your bank account and all that, and how, like, what you can do for your income and how you do well for yourself. And then all of a sudden they realize like, wow, maybe our son is not doing that. Like maybe he's not
an idiot. Maybe he's actually sort of smart. Yeah. I can relate.
So
dude.
After even this is the same with friends. Let's say I don't like, if I can sense it when people, they treat me different now, and I'm just like, why would you do this all of a sudden, bro? Like, we've always been friends and all that. Just don't try to be nicer to me just because I got like 4 million followers now. Or the next thing is like, you are texting me and I would not reply you back, and then I just find out 2 days later, I'm like, oh fuck, sorry, I just saw it. And then you go like, no, it's no problem. I know you get so many messages. Yeah, it's okay. I know I get messages, but still it could be like I didn't value it too much, so I would check on your message again. So it's not okay I didn't text you back. So like that, just like people would forgive you for things. They would say like, I know you are so busy, I don't want to bother you, I don't want to disturb you and all that. And you just go like, but I thought we are friends. So why would you treat me that way? Just like treat me like your normal dude, like your homie. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it can be
So
kind of
there's
hard
definitely
to
some
figure out because it's just like, what do you do? I don't know. It's hard to like prevent somebody from having that thought process, you know? And it's like an old friend of yours or something. Like, how do you just tell them like I'm the same guy as 5 years ago? Like, don't treat me differently.
Yeah. The thing is, like, maybe, I mean, you are evolving in your head, and as I make a lot of experience traveling, see a lot of things and meet a lot of people and all that, you might just get more grown up. You get more mature and all that, maybe in your mind, and maybe you make more progress than the other guy. But I'm wondering about you, bro, because for you it must be quite similar. Let's say, how is it for you then when you are in Canada? I can't imagine that people don't know it, because even for me, they tell me, they see me, they say, hey, what's your YouTube? And I'm just like, hey, but I'm not even that big on YouTube. So how even? So I can just imagine you, like, you have a big fan base now, bro, and you are very well loved by the people. And I can just reckon that you go somewhere and people would spot you all the time.
Yeah, especially at gyms. But it seems like now anywhere I go, there's at least one or two people that come up to me. And even if it's at like, even if I'm going to a buddy's place, I'm just like in his condo building, I'll be like going up an elevator and it'll be like the guy in the elevator is like, bro, watching your video this morning. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's fucking, that's crazy. Because for me too, my audience is like 8% in Canada or something. It's like way more in the USA. So I'm just imagining like, wow, this is even here, So yeah, it's pretty crazy, dude.
Similar thing like me. And I was like, how would be so many people in Dubai? I went everywhere I go, people know me and brought me for pictures, and I'm just like, who am I? I go inside in the skyscraper there in the elevator. There's a maybe 45-year-old dude coming in with his wife, and then he's like, oh, you're the guy from the thing, like, and I'm just like, how the fuck would you know me? Like you're like a grown-up man with his like how, and then there's a lot of like people. They are between 40 and 50 that watch my videos. I would never think about that. Like I would never thought about that. People in this age range would still watch someone like me.
No, yeah. When you go to the like for even me, I didn't even realize girls watched my content at all. And when I had like a couple girls come up to me in the gym and be like, "I watch your stuff," I'm like, really? Like that's surprising because I don't really post like physique stuff or anything like mainstream fitness. I talk about like really science information and shit. I'm like, you would listen to me like talk about this stuff? Crazy. Yeah.
But this is the one thing that I always have to say. People, they always break it down on this is Joesthetics, and you're only cool because this is your physique and your body and you can do the ripple and all that stuff. No, dude, it's more about like you sit there and you are a cool guy. And I just like to listen to you. That I always said like this, I go here, there's this Chinese guy. He walks with his selfie stick, filming himself. And you're just like, who the fuck is this? But in reality, he's right now live streaming, and 300,000 people are watching his live stream, him walking through Thailand with his selfie stick, recording himself. And everyone loves him. But he's a chubby Chinese dude, just look fucking normal. So it would be like, why would everyone? Yeah, because a cool person is lovable. It's the body is nothing to be like, where you can get emotionally attached to. But if you like someone because this guy is just like a cool dude, that's much more important. So this is the reason why also it doesn't matter how you look. It's about you sitting there and talking and saying the things you say and acting the way you act and just being Derek. Yeah. And that's what the people like about you. That's what should be in general.
Yeah. That's one thing I like.
The physique is only the tip.
How the fitness industry is going a bit more in the direction of people with personality and people with information. They're the ones who are growing faster now versus before. It was just like guys like Simeon Panda, guys like, not saying he has no personality or anything, but I'm just saying like the guys with the sickest physique, like the Ulysses, the whatever. And they would they would never make a video just like talking to you and being relatable. It would just be like, look at my sick fucking physique. And that's it. And everyone would follow them. But now it's kind of going in the opposite direction.
I swear to God, this is the thing that's happening right now in 2021, also with the social media stuff. See, before it was like this, you see a movie and cinema and stuff, and these actors, and you admire them. So there's these two types of role models. One which is so far away from you, which you would never be able to meet this guy or touch up with this guy and all this stuff. but you still love him because he's your famous actor.
Yeah.
But then there's now all these social media personalities, which are just so much closer to the people. It's like someone for you to love, but he's so close to you. So it's like you can, even if you send him a message, there's maybe even a chance he replies. While you text The Rock, you would never. So it's like, it's shifting. So now, before it was like, if you have the sickest physique, like you said, the people who look the best were getting the most famous. While maybe the best looking physique guy is a total dickhead and it's just no character. And it's, you know what I mean? If you're an asshole in real life, you are still, if you can look the best. But that's the thing with some bodybuilders. I mean, not to name some people, but some old school bodybuilders also that won like a bunch of titles, but are just like such stubborn old school bodybuilders, just eat, sleep, train, repeat. And they're just like, you know, grumpy and like, nothing to love. Nothing to love.
I love how it's not, it used to be like those guys, they were like, I have the best genetics and physique, so put me on the cover of the magazines, give me the big contract, and just like worship me basically. But now, and they don't understand why they're like not making the same money they used to, or why people are giving attention to other people. And it's like, because we don't want to follow dickhead bodybuilders with no personality who we can't relate to, you know? And I love how it's going the opposite direction now. Yeah.
I found out about this when, let's say, I think 3 years ago or something, you know, Marcus Rule. He was always the guy, even back in the days, who made the DVDs and the videos and that stuff. And he was like burping and farting and all that shit. And
dude, I just made a video on that. Yeah.
I know. So, and now he saw the social media coming in and he stepped in and he took the chance and made videos and kept showing about his personality because he's also a cool dude. While other people, let's say, they would still keep posting their physique updates, which is just like, yeah, it's nice, but it's still the same shit always, man. And I said this 100%. The thing is, entertainment is much more important than everything else, because then people say, yeah, but it should be knowledge, or it should have some information, or it should educate me or something. No, people watching Netflix all the time, and it's just brain fucking. But it's entertaining. People like to laugh. People like to be happy and get excited to watch stuff like you, and not just like a bodybuilder. Yeah, and I eat 200 grams of chicken breast, and then I eat 300 grams of broccoli. That's it. Like, you know, being a bit funny and to some extent can really help to create better content in that way. And that's also one, to go back to the point real quick, one point, because I was in Thailand, because I felt like very free to do whatever I want in terms of like creating content, which I didn't really feel even in Germany, because like then also I would talk English, right? Because I've always been talking English. And in Germany, how would I be making these videos? And everyone would just look at you strange and all that stuff. Not that I give a fuck anyways, but it's just like in my small city and hometown, then all these people, they look at him like, man, look at this dude now. He thinks he's taken off. Like, you know, he's getting arrogant and like who is this? Like, why is talking English now? Is he too good for German? And like, it's so much bullshit talk.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, man. Yeah. So like that, you mentioned the Alien Games thing and how that kind of like took off your Instagram and kind of had your first viral videos and whatnot. Did you like, you noticed it for the first time during your photo shoot, you said, or did you have it happen all through your life?
No, the thing is, I always had problems with cramps. So I don't know if you know, back in the days, I've been a professional mountain bike rider.
Oh yeah, your first YouTube video, if you sort by like oldest, it's like some mountain bike videos.
So this is this mountain bike stuff that I did, and I would ride competitions, and I would also be kind of cramping. I would not be able to release my hands anymore from the handlebar to do some trick or something, because my fingers would just be cramping like crazy. So something was always wrong. I have to admit, when I was off steroids, everything, it would happen less strong. So now that, let's say, even on my test replacement therapy, which I bumped it up anyways for my recovery process of my biceps to 250 tests a week, but we're going to touch on that later. So it increased the cramping, because I feel like it's you holding more intramuscular water. And now as my biceps was injured, the funny thing is, so this part I didn't train at all. And now as I was coming back to training, with this arm, it would still get the cramps all the time, but this arm is just not cramping at all anymore. So I think it has something to do with exercising as well.
Yeah, one thing I noticed personally, like I don't have the same like gene mutation that causes the rippling muscle disease or anything, but even me, when I would do like a blast phase, like when I was bulking up way back in the day and I use like more gear, I would get cramps a lot easier. Like it would definitely make a big difference. So it's like the more shit you use, the more it throws off your electrolyte balance, I think for sure. So I think you're definitely
Yeah. But the funny thing is, my electrolytes again from the blood work came back proper in range and all that stuff, and I'm just like, why? Are you even hearing this noise, by the way?
a little bit. Yeah. What is it? Is it on my
Okay,
end?
because these guns up there, they know they are drilling, and I'm just like, holy fuck.
Oh, it's not. No,
Anyways,
I
okay,
don't think it's that loud, so it's not a big deal.
okay.
So you've tried like supplementing with like
No, but
magnesium and potassium and sodium and stuff. Like I see you salting your stuff all the time, right?
I'm putting, and I tried magnesium until dosages like where you just gonna like shit yourself because you just get diarrhea.
Yeah, and that didn't work either.
Then it didn't work either. Then calcium, magnesium, potassium, everything I've tried, nothing helped. But I need to increase the salt. If I would train, I come home, I need to take like 2 grams of salt to make sure that I'm not cramping like a crazy.
Oh wow. So the salt on its own helps, but the other electrolytes don't help as much.
Okay. No, and I would supplement electrolytes, doesn't help.
Interesting.
So I think even so, I still believe it is some kind of a rippling muscle disease, because like I was checking my blood work again with the doctor, and he's like, wouldn't see any reason for cramping.
Yeah. There was like, I forget what it was when I first looked into it, because it was I did a video reaction to it like 2 years ago or something, because obviously it was like a really hot topic with the videos going viral and stuff. And I was like, it was like a certain gene mutation that causes an imbalance that you can't necessarily correct manually. So it's kind of like you just have it genetically, and there's not, I guess you can make it less bad, but I don't think it can ever really go away.
Exactly. It's never really going away, and it's just like no matter what I'm touching, it always, let's say I'm touching here, but the whole muscle twitches through.
Yeah.
And I was talking with this other guy, the black guy, Uzoma. He also has and he was even on TV in Meet the Doctor or something TV show in the US, and they haven't been able to fix it. And I was talking with him. He said, the only thing, it takes away your flexibility, and just sometimes when I'm so shredded, it happens even more. And I'm just sitting there. I want to reach for the glass on the table, and I just need to wait because my arm would be cramping, and it hurts. It actually hurts.
Shit. When you're lifting, that must be scary when you have like heavy weight on the bar.
That's when I do bench press, the first time I stretch my chest up, because I'm always scared that I will pull down, it start to cramp, and it just tears my muscle.
Yeah. So did that impact your training style? Like, do you train like higher rep, lower weight because of that? Or how has that evolved over the years?
Yeah. Over the years, it evolved like this, that I use less heavy weights and go more for muscle-mind connection. Yeah.
Okay. Do you find that, like, you're doing that obviously partially to avoid injury, but do you think that also impacted your results? Like, have you found any difference in your ability to pack on size from going from like heavy lower rep to like higher rep, lower weight kind of thing? Or what do you think on that?
It's a so-so. It needs to be heavy enough, but it doesn't need to be too crazy heavy. Because when I think about when I was with Kai Green in India we've been there for like 1.5 months.
Yeah.
Or 2 months almost. And I would see him training every day, and I would see what weight he's using, and he would train with very light weights, but he would train he would have very high intensity and volume, but less heavy weights.
Do you think he can maintain with less though? Like, do you think he built his physique doing it like that? Or do you think he built all of his size going heavy and now he just maintains it with lighter weights? That's what I would wonder.
I believe that mind-muscle connection is a big part in how well your muscles are getting developed. And that is let's say, over many years, even you're training for 20 years, you are still improving this mind-muscle connection every time. And I just believe at a certain point, you are just getting there and you are improving so much, and then you just reach kind of like your potential. You eventually reach your potential, or you bring in some steroids and then you push it to the next level. But it's definitely, in my opinion, down to mind-muscle connection over heavy weights, because at one point I was always telling myself, I do the perfect form and squeeze and everything, how I felt it the best.
Yeah.
Then I increased the weight until I reached a point where I just can't maintain that speed of rev, the time and attention to keep the my form on the perfect, right, everything. Until this point comes up, I would not increase the weight.
Okay. When you were developing your physique, like I'm assuming now you're more like, it seems like your physique has developed a lot like over the past few years, but then like, do you think you've sort of plateaued a bit, or do you think like, obviously you got injured recently, so this doesn't count, but I mean like 2020, 2021, before the injury,
Yeah.
has your progress started to stall out a bit, or has it been like linear the whole time?
So I have to say that I was looking crazy when I look back on some pictures. It was like, holy moly, how did I even do this? And I looked so full and all that stuff. Then I had the hernia surgery, which threw me back. Then you go like, then I went off again once in between because of the TRT stuff. And then the main reason was like, it was not finding any gear. And when I was in Germany, this was the reason I went off. And then I had this other injury now. Then I was in Dubai. Then I was, getting distracted. So for me, I think I was looking the best maybe 2020 in February. And since then, it's kind of like this and this and this. But now I'm getting older, and I was never thinking that it's going to be a thing. I was like, yeah, you're young and fresh, right? So
yeah,
I was always dieting to a certain point. So I had my protocol, like how to get in shape like crazy, right? So I have this hardcore protocol, which I would do maybe 2,000 calories, twice a day cardio and all that, and fuck me up and just push it. And within like 10 days, I can do magic, man. I can look like a different person.
yeah.
So I would redo this protocol in February or in March when I came back to Thailand. And I'm like, I'm so far in the diet already, and I'm doing this and I'm pushing so hard, but the changes won't come that fast like before. And I'm like, my abs are just not getting dry as before, like as quick and all that stuff. And I'm just like, maybe my metabolism slowed down, and or maybe I'm getting older and just things not working that smoothly anymore. Or maybe once you put the fat back on, it's getting harder to get rid of it again.
Interesting. Are you like satisfied?
So, and then the next thing is
with like your size now, or once you get back from the injury, are you just going to go back to the whole like staying shredded year round thing, or like what's your plan on that?
The thing is, like with me, to be honest, what should I do? I could now say I was injured, so maybe now I bring in some, like whatever I take more gear, right? And I'm just, because I see people that compete, and I see there's pictures, and they competing and how crazy they look, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I also look crazy, but not this kind of crazy, and just like, but I also need to say, I'm not using all these things that they're using. I'm just not punishing my body to that extent. So I have to be okay to be maybe less full, because there's always a sacrifice. Either you are full or you are shredded, and you cannot really be full and shredded beside you taking whatever Winstrol and all that stuff. You know that there's steroids that can make you like a superhuman. And as I'm not using these, when I'm then dieting, I'm getting flat and I'm just looking skinny, man. I really feel skinny. And then it always goes down, 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 down. I really feel skinny. And then once the fat is gone, you look more ripped again. And then you feel better, because you look, even you are skinnier, but you just look more dry, which makes you look more heavy again.
Right. Okay.
So as the moment when the cuts come out, it doesn't matter. Let's say I'm shredded with 100 kg, or I'm shredded with 90 kg, it would pretty much look similar, and you wouldn't, on the videos also wouldn't be able to see it that much.
Okay. So after
because like once you're
go ahead.
Once you're shredded, you still look you still look big. Let's say if you're 100 kg bulking, or you're 100 kg shredded, the guy with 100 kg shredded looks like 120 already.
Right.
But the 100 kg guy who's bulking looks like maybe he's 95. But so the more defined you are, the more heavy you look.
Right. Recently, you posted a snap. It was either a Snapchat or an Instagram story, and it was showing like your peak natural physique. Do you know what you weighed in that picture versus, like you say now you're shredded like 100 kg?
Yeah.
What were you at the?
It was back in the days. The goal was always to be 100 kg shredded. It has been 100 kg shredded. It was always the goal. Then at one time I reached it. Then I dropped down to 97, 95, 94. And then because when you are just pushing the diet too far, at one point you're also losing muscle. It's just like
Yeah.
So that's why people, they ask me, why are you always so shredded? I'm just like, I'm just not. It's always like this. Today I'm in a deficit, then I'm in maintenance mode, then I'm in a slight surplus, then I'm in deficit again. So I'm always kind of going like this, because you never can 100% perfectly guess your calorie burn per day and your calorie intake to be so specific. And then also I'm doing flexible eating. So I always, sometimes if I want to look better, then I just push it a bit harder, and then I look worse, and then I just relax a bit. So I'm always up, fluctuating a lot. And my peak natty physique was ripped 87 kgs.
Okay, so that's like,
and I'm 182. I'm 182, and I was really happy with it.
okay, so that's like 190 pounds lean. Yeah, that's pretty fucking good for natural.
No,
So like, so you found when you got on gear, you pretty much gained like 13. Like, I guess you're leaner at 100 kg than you were at 87 kg. So you probably gained like 15 to 20 kg of like pure muscle over the span of all your anabolics, would you say? Is that kind of?
Yes, but also we need to see that one factor is the moment you stop, you will lose a lot of water, which you're just not able to hold anymore in your muscles.
So it's like temporary, like weight, not muscle weight.
Yeah, this is like, let's say it's like my arm looks like this, or like I swear my arms, they would just be 1 centimeter less big in general, in total, when I'm off.
Right.
Just because that bit of test gives you, like, you know, like people, they say this guy looks always like he's pumped.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a bit of the feeling that you have with the test. So it's definitely a difference, but not that it's like you are 20 kg more heavy, which means 20 kgs more muscle. Maybe it's more like 10 kg muscle and 10 kg of water weight.
Yeah. So like, so you already had a pretty good physique as a natural. And then when you were using shit, obviously at some point through your 20s, you decided, I don't want to try and become like a freak giant bodybuilder. I don't need to push the dosages that aggressively to do that. I'm going to come down to more like TRT and then sort of like bump it up or bump it down based on kind of what I'm doing with my physique at the time, I assume. So like, what made you decide to kind of like really reel back on the dosages? Did you have like a really bad set of blood work or something, or like what? Because most of us, when we started, even your story, you were like, this guy told me to use Tren and use this and use that. Like, once you learned that that wasn't like good for you necessarily, was there a point in your 20s where you're like, oh, I'm gonna?
Okay, I realized like this. I tell you straight up. So I would always be like, I want to look better, so I would take more gear. So let's say then I bring in some Masteron or whatever. Tren, I just really hate that shit, bro. So I would just maybe use some Masteron and increase my test intake, and maybe add maybe 20 milligrams of Winstrol or whatever a day. And then I would blow up, man. I would get massive. I would hold so much more water. But always when I did this, I was somehow not being able to stay on my diet. I would, for whatever reasons, always eating too much. And then I use all these like supplements to make me more dry and full. But I would just blow up like a balloon because I'm then eating too much. So then I was like, okay, I always felt like I looked the best with like 125 to, like, first I was 250. And then I was just bringing it down to 125 because I just felt the best like with this. I just felt more better. Yeah. I also now I have a mate. He's like, he's going to take out the test almost completely, just like to 60 milligrams a week or something he's going to do, because the higher his test, the worse he feels. That's what he says. So I was also like talking with people and they said, yeah, 125, I'm on dress replacement. I just feel so good. So I was like, okay, I want to try that. So I did it. I felt good and I looked good enough, like good enough. For what I was thinking that I wanted to do, like with my Instagram stuff, I was like, it doesn't make a huge difference if I'm now 90 kgs shredded or I'm 100 kgs shredded or 110 kgs, but still I want to be like halfway normal looking, like a normal human being, which I can already tell you that when I walk outside here in public, people would be staring at me all the time. And I'm not even that crazy big. But imagine you are just already like 10 kgs more heavy. I remember my mate in Germany, we've been in like outdoor park where you can swim and all that stuff in our swimming shorts. And then this guy is 120 kg, also quite ripped, like a proper bodybuilder, man. He would walk through this way and there's a restaurant, everyone goes like this. Everyone goes, people would tap the other guy on the shoulder, like, look at him.
Yeah.
And then it's just like you feel like a monkey in a zoo, bro. Like anything you do, people would stare at you and observe you and look at you, and it's not in a good way. It's always in this way. It's more like the juice head, man. This is a juice head, like this more.
There's this video of Flex Wheeler back in the 90s walking down the beach with his shirt off. And like the reactions, man, it's like obviously, you know, when you're a Mr. Olympia, like presumably he liked the attention, but you can tell you're kind of like a circus freak almost, the way people look at you. It's like every single person is like, what the fuck is this thing walking down the sidewalk right now? And it's like steroids, 100%. That's what everyone's thinking.
It's not only also about this, it's also, let's say, that people, they judge you anytime you look different than the normal, the norm. In Germany, that's very bad. Let's say, you know, punks, right, with these high, or let's whatever, the style with the
like the emos and stuff.
You know,
the goth people.
Like it's just like that. So exactly, if you come the gothic, if you come out like this in public, people would just look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, why is, you know, it's different, it's not accepted. And then the same thing with bodybuilding. It's just like, you are big. It's just like, it has a touch, like some negative touch to it. So I was always like, I saw all this, and I was 115 kilograms once. And I was just seeing like how it is. And when you walk in public and how to find clothing, just being out of breath and all that stuff, like, man, being too heavy is not even that nice. Being that big is a big sacrifice that you need to make, that you just got to be okay. That everyone might be staring at you, that there's probably a lot of feedback which isn't positive, and that you just also can't maintain like a normal life like everyone else, man. It's just like, you need to eat more than other people. Maybe, let's say, me having the MRI scan, it's hard to fit in the machine and all that stuff. So there's a lot of downsides that come with being too big as well.
Yeah.
I saw this like aesthetic kind of thing, right? Yeah. And then I was always telling myself, this is what I'm about. I want to look aesthetic, and I believe even people, they can look like me. Like, there's some guys that are black, they have just really superior genetics. And I mean, one of my ex-teammates in the UK, I go to the photo shoot, he looks exactly like me almost, and he says he's not using, and I would believe him. So I'm not that crazy big, and it's not that it's not out of this world, but it has never been my goal to be a Mr. Olympia competitor. But the goals are different. Just let me finish it off like this. If you want to get that crazy big, consider the fact that if you are over 110 kilograms, you might always have problems just living a normal life like everyone else.
Yeah. Did you have like a goal physique when you started that you were like aspiring to replicate or something?
I mean, back in the days when I started, it was the time where Cease was there, right? And that was the thing. He brought in the aesthetic stuff. That was him. Big credits to him about all this shredded aesthetic stuff. That was him who started all that. And then Alon Gabay was one of these guys. Then, like, not Jeff Seid was there, but it was like, looks good, but it like Ryan Terry stuff, people like this. Ryan Terry, then Sadiq Hazovic. What is the other guy's name? He doesn't like me anymore. It's also a guy from the UK.
Tom Coleman.
Tom Coleman. I think. Yeah. Yeah, guys like this I would watch. I was even going and meet these guys on the Fitness Expo, in the FIBO. I would be a fan of the sport, and then like eventually just push it myself and just keep digging in and becoming someone myself.
Gotcha. As far as like when you were building up your physique to begin with, now obviously I think you would probably say, as I don't know if, like, for me, I know for a fact most people's physiques, you can maintain a lot with like 125 tests, for example, but to like build what you got, like, was there a certain amount of shit you felt like you needed to use to get the physique that you could then maintain with the 125? Like, what was like your best, most productive cycle you felt like?
Oh man, the thing is, so I would first get on the cycle, right? And I would be like 105, 107 kgs. But for me, it was always like, I gain muscle, I go off, and I would always stay on the diet, literally like in a deficit. So I would go off, and not try to bulk and maintain as much as I can, but I'm more likely to try to stay in the best shape possible. So I would lose a lot of muscle, then I jump back on, then I would gain muscle again, then I would lose muscle again, then I would gain. Obviously, when I was using more gear the first time, right, when I was also using the trend and stuff, I would blow up. But not that I would say like this was the best. The best thing is 250 test. Trust me, this is for most people more than enough, because everyone thinks like they need some crazy cycle, insulin, GH, and all that stuff, and trend, whatever. No, dude, just like 250 is already crazy in compared to natural. So you can just stay on I know people that stayed on 250 for like 1.5 years and were just still bulking, and they have more muscles than me by a lot. So it doesn't always mean more gear brings you more muscle. In the short time, it might get you a lot of side effects, and it might make you feel really bad, and you might get acne, and you might get a lot of more problems when you chase it from this fast way. Right? It taking time while gaining muscle prevents the stretch marks, prevents many things.
So if you could go back in time, instead of doing like, I'm assuming you probably did like bigger cycles when you were like young 20s and didn't really know what you were doing. If you could go back in time, would you just be like 250 kind of like almost year round and just like slowly gain? Or would you still come off? Or like what kind of approach would you take to your, would you ever go above 250 for your physique that you got? Or like how would you have approached
I would always say maybe like I would 4 months. I would do 4 months on, 2 months off, and then just go with 250. Yep, that's what I would say. That would if you would just like try to in 1.5 or 2 years try to get to a really good physique. Yeah, man, just get on some tests for 4 months, then eat, and when you come off, you still keep eating, and then when you jump back on, you start maybe to diet, and you will already see how well it works for you.
Okay.
To giving the receptors some rest sometimes is really needed, because some people, they would blast. Yeah, but that's the thing I was thinking, right? So let's say we start at 250, then you go up. Okay, now I don't feel 250 too good anymore, so let's bump it up to 500. Then I swear I was at this one point also back in the days where I would use 3cc, which is 750, and it would still feel like 3 months before 250.
Yeah.
So I would just say, like, man, why immediately? Like, it's like, I don't know, like you season in your food. Yeah, try it, put some more, try it, and maybe it's already enough. Beside, like, you put,
and you don't need to like dump the whole fucking shaker onto it.
Yeah,
not going to make it any better.
I would say people are losing out on their potential if they bring in too much gear from the start. It gives it always. This is what you see, like these guys who just look blown up. You see really big shoulders and kind of this, but if they would stop the gear, they immediately would be really skinny again, because it's not actual real muscle.
Gotcha.
So instead of like going through this blowing up process and just like getting big for no matter what, I would always go for quality muscle gain.
Yeah, I think a longer, slower approach is probably like safer and smarter in general, rather than like big fucking cycles and then, crashing because your health has gone to shit or whatever. Yeah, I think like a more conservative approach and like really prioritizing the food and the sleep and whatnot is definitely the move. If I could go back in time personally,
we need to see anyways like this, right? This is why I also not compete, because these guys who competing, they just to be competitive on a pro level, you need to take all these medications, and so they are torturing their body to then later after competition come off and trying to cleanse because they did so much shit.
Yeah.
And that's why they also need to go on off. Yeah, because they are doing all these very bad things to their body where they just the liver enzymes and all that stuff comes up. So I've seen bad blood works as well. And then I'm just like, for what? I mean, obviously it's the thing is like, how can I say? Yeah, I would also like to have a dog right now, but I might not buy it because I might not have enough time for it. So, like just being smart, just like, why would you do some things that you just right now really badly want, but maybe in 2 years you already understand, like, wow, that was really stupid. Why did I do this? Because you in that moment wanted it so badly. But just like overthink and make smart decisions. Like, just like, I don't know. only because you have a bottle of test doesn't mean you need to blast through it, you know, like, or how can I say, just know your limits. That's what I say. And just like slowly taper it up. It's like with everything. I don't know, if you drink coffee, you wouldn't just start with 1000 milligrams of caffeine a day, or like with a pre-workout. So you take one scoop until one scoop doesn't work that well anymore. And then you take maybe 2 scoops. So you really, the body is always adapting, and you always want to have the best results with the least chemicals. Chemistry possible. Yeah, with the least chemistry possible.
Was there like you said, you hated tren, which I think a lot of people hate tren too because of how the shitty side effects are. Are there certain compounds that you really liked besides TAS? Like you mentioned, Masteron and Winstrol were kind of like made you look really dry. Was there certain things that you used back in the day that you don't really use now that you thought were like productive, or even fat burners for helping cutting?
That's what. Yeah, the fat burner we'll touch on in a second. But that's the thing. Like I said, always when I was like, now I want to take something like Masteron to get in a look better, I would always then eat more for whatever reason and then just fuck it up. So I would just remove everything, go back to my little test levels, and then I would look the best. And I swear, when I would use Masteron, I would just be like my body looked just pumped, bro, like super pumped. And my face also gets bigger as well. And I just didn't like this. I didn't like the look that you look like you're having a pump 24/7.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned you were going to talk about the fat burners. Do you have experience with things like Clan and T3?
So let's say, so my biceps, let's say it's kind of a skinny arm, but if I'm flexing it, let's say the muscle gets bigger because the blood is getting in. But if I would be on Masteron, it's like I'm flexing and I'm not flexing. It looks like this all the time. You get my point? So let's say it would not get come up like this. It would already be kind of full.
That was like me on
That's
D-ball.
What happens to me if I'm using.
On D-ball, it was like I was flexing if I wasn't even fucking doing anything. Just like walking around like permanently pumped.
For the fat burner part, I have to say, I need to make a video anyways about your Joesthetics.
Oh, Raoul-Sign.
Because Joesthetics is, Joesthetics is the best fat burner in my opinion. Because, now look, why? If you have a good cardio partner, let's say, imagine you wake up in the morning, you take your 5 milligrams of Joesthetics, take a coffee, whatever, and then go back to the bedroom and go with your cardio partner. You have a better performance in bed. And
a lot of people don't realize that it helps your dick function. Better hard-ons with Joesthetics or Raoul-Sign.
It is so good because when you are dieting, you are already in a calorie deficit, and so you are not in the mood that much and all that. So, or maybe also if you are eating that less calories, your libido might be really bad. So you bring in the Joesthetics and you fix both problems, man. You fix it. Like I said, you stay up in the morning, empty stomach, use it, and then go smash it for an hour, bro. You have a really good time and you're burning fat.
Do you notice a difference between the Raoul-Sign and like I don't know if you know that we actually use alpha Joesthetics. It's like a different version of Joesthetics that makes you feel less. I get like clammy and hypoglycemic feeling when I use normal Joesthetics. Whereas Raoul-Sign is alpha Joesthetics. It's a bit more potent, but it's also slightly different where it doesn't make you feel like I can't even work out on Joesthetics, to be honest. It makes me feel like
I swear. Yeah. Oh, Joesthetics is nothing to work out with. Joesthetics is purely, this is what I would even have it in the gym. I finish my workout, and let's say 10 minutes before I finish my workout, I would pop the Joesthetics so that when I finish my workout, I go on the treadmill. So it's already kind of like getting absorbed. And then only for cardio purposes. If I'm using it when I'm training, you probably know when you're pressing some heavy weight and you just like start to shake all over the body. And it's just like makes you feel weird.
Some companies they put Joesthetics in their pre-workouts because it's like you can definitely feel it. It makes you really like on edge. But I feel like that fucks up your workouts, to be honest. So that's why we don't put it in any of the pre-workouts, and we have it separately in the Raoul-Sign product by itself. Yeah, I can't work out on Joesthetics at all, dude. It's brutal.
I get a goosebumps and all that stuff.
Yeah, it makes you feel like actually hypo. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's really strange. This is why it's also for me, Joesthetics, I would use it only for this like 1 hour period where I'm actually want to burn fat. So let's say I pop the Joesthetics, I'm not eating. I'm going for my cardio. Once I come back, I'm bringing in carbs because carbs just make me feel less shitty when I use the Johanbein. Because you know how it is. If you just eat, if you not eat much and you're not low in carbs and you use the Johanbein, the effect kind of hits you harder.
Yeah. So I'm assuming because you don't like the shaking and because you have the muscle rippling thing, you probably avoid clen like entirely, right? Because that would make your cramps even worse, right? Yeah.
I remember these days, I was always like hearing, okay, clen. So I was like, yeah, man, want to try? I would use 20 micrograms. I'm like, oh my goodness, man, like, what the fuck is going on? I cannot take this. Like, I was like, I feel so uncomfortable, like nervous and stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was more in my head that the real effect, but it was just like, well, I can't use. And then like people would tell me about the cramps. So no, to be honest, sometimes I use clen, but also only like for a cardio session.
Okay.
So maybe sometimes, let's say I wouldn't have access to Johanbein, so I would then just take 20 micrograms of clen pre-cardio and that's it. But I really don't like it much, man. I don't really see the benefit of it. I mean, there's again this thing that you should bump it up until 120 micrograms to get the anti-catabolic effect of it, which you just don't want to bump it up to 120 micrograms because you feel so bad. And it's just like, I found out this is a big pro tip for everyone, or like information. If something that you think you might take to have a better performance or to burn more fat or whatever, yeah, what nice. But if this stuff also makes you feel bad so that it decreases your performance, you might just want to skip it completely and just work harder as you are able to perform better, which then in the end results in burning more calories than the fat burner would give you the.
It's like some people, they use DNP and like it works. I don't know if you've heard of DNP before. That's stuff that Tony Hughes used to use to rip fat off. And it works.
That's right. Yeah.
It works really well, but you feel so shitty on it that you might not even end up doing your cardio. You might not even be able to work out. If you do work out, your workout might be shit quality. So it's definitely like, even if it works the best, it might like kill your everything else so much that it's like not even worth using. You know what I mean? So sometimes less drugs actually works better, as like paradoxical as that sounds.
Big time. Similar, let's say maybe it's a comparable with melanotan. If people know that stuff, it's would like for tanning.
Yeah.
And if you take it, it would also make you feel so bad.
You can't even eat.
So you also have to, so you have to value that. You say maybe you get less tan, but you not feel like shit all day, or you need more tan, more fast, but then be okay that you feel really bad. So this is the like value it up. So
the only time
using something extra.
Only time I would use melanotan is when I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm like starving, because it would be like the nausea with my hunger would like even out to just be like nothing. And then I would just not be hungry.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
True. People, I know some of my friends, they would also use it, just say that helps me to not feel hungry, because the nausea feeling with the fasting kind of like, it gets you through the day without worrying about food, because you're more worried about you feeling sick somehow.
Yeah. What do you use for like, so you mentioned you use the alpha Johanbein for your cardio now, like through Gorilla Mind. Sometimes you'd use clen in the past when you didn't have access to Johanbein. For melanotan, I'm assuming like you sometimes use it, or because like
I would sometimes. I swear I still have some also, but I would just never use it because I feel too bad on it, and then I'm just like, I'm kind of, it's more for the tanning purpose, right? So for this stuff, I don't necessarily really need it. But then when I would be in Germany during winter time, it's maybe like, maybe something to consider. But still, as this stuff is also not too well tested on humans, it's not like you should use it forever anyways.
True. So have you ever used anything
which
like
I know a lot of
T3
I know
or
a lot
anything?
Of bodybuilder. Nope, never ever used T3 or T4, because always people told me like there might be the chance your thyroid stops working as good as it worked from like ever. Okay. So you might stop taking the medication and it would decrease your thyroid anyway. So you in general just never want to touch it, which I then never did.
Okay. So like no other fat burners really worth noting. It's just like a shit ton of cardio and hard dieting basically.
Basically the cardio and that's it. Yeah, because always people, they would say like, Joe has such great genetics. I'm just like every day in the morning I'm killing myself for 60 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
I'm always doing cardio with my heart rate monitor on, just heart range 130, maybe 140 some, and then just pushing through. Being on point with your nutrition definitely makes a huge difference. And then the drugs are just an extra that maybe helps you to speed up the process slightly, or having a better process.
You mentioned like to really get in shape, you would do this like 10-day protocol where you do 2,000 calories and 2 hours of cardio a day. So that would be like you'd wake up and do 60, like 2 hours fasted, or would you do 60 minutes fasted, workout, and then do 60 minutes later in the day? Or
yeah, it would be like waking up, let's say like at 8, doing the cardio, then coming back from the cardio, just having some egg whites with broccoli, then just waiting like an hour, then just somehow going to the gym, pushing through your workout, and then post-workout still push another hour of cardio, and then have a big post-workout meal, some small snack in the evening, and that's it.
Jesus Christ.
Twice a day cardio, 2 hours of cardio and one workout, and like 2,000 calories. That is always since 2012, this is our protocol, like with some of my friends. It's just like push it hard for 10 days and then slightly increase the calories again. I'm always a big believer in like, instead of dieting like 200 calories calorie deficit for 6 months, I would rather do maybe 1,000 calorie deficit for 2 weeks and then slowly increase it. So you just get rid of the fat quite fast.
Yeah.
And maybe sacrifice some muscle instead of sacrificing the muscle long-term, maybe. Because I mean, we don't 100% know, right? If it's better to diet long-term to maintain more muscle, or if a 10-day hardcore diet and then increasing the calories again would be even smarter. We don't really know.
So you find it easier to like stick to the diet when you only have to do like short bursts of like really intense stuff versus like dragging it out for 4+ months or something like that?
Yeah. Feels. This is the thing. Like if you constantly eating in a calorie deficit, even if it's just like 300 calories, if after 1 or 2 months you will just be hungry at one point. So I'm mostly in maintenance mode with my calories, or I'm pushing it.
What's your maintenance calories like, just out of curiosity?
I think it's around 2.5K.
2,500. And that keeps you like pretty fucking lean still, right?
Yeah, that keeps me really lean. And that 2.5 is without much activity. That's literally just not even includes much of activity during the day. Because if you would do cardio and all that stuff, then you at least the maintenance calories probably already at 3.5.
Okay. Do you like count your steps too, or do you just do like cardio, like sessions of like?
The best is to count steps. In my opinion, I was having the Apple Watch and all that stuff. So 15,000 steps a day is a really good marker to know like, yeah, you have been quite active.
Yeah.
And I would always make my decisions on how much calories I'm eating based on my steps. 15,000 is a really good marker that I would just always, like back in the days, there would be days I would look at my watch, 12,000 steps, go for a walk.
So as long as you keep your step count where it needs to be, then you could pretty much just like keep your physique dialed in, you found?
Yeah, or you can also always just go eat, burn. Just either you make sure you burn before you eat or you burn after you eat. So let's say I'm now eating my breakfast and then I go for a 20-minute walk. So I just always try to burn off some of the calorie intake straight up after I consume it.
Okay. Yeah, I think the step count is like an easier way to adhere to, like rather than doing like go do 2 hours of cardio. It's like easier to kind of like do it throughout the day, maybe for some people. So I think the Apple Watch thing is probably a good idea. Like hitting just like your 10,000 average every day sort of thing to like maintain a lean, nice looking physique. I feel like is like realistic for a lot of people.
Yeah. And there's also the 2 ways that you can do, like either you push yourself with the cardio and you go with the heart rate up to a like fat burning heart rate.
Yeah.
Or you're just having moderate heart rate daily and you're just in the calorie deficit. And the calorie deficit is already enough to get you shredded at some point.
Yeah.
But I still believe that it's just easier to burn some stubborn fat off with cardio instead of just having a slight calorie deficit. Because I know people that would do zero cardio and diet forever and still not getting there. Then there's people that don't do cardio and they're really getting there easily.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, if you are on the mission to get as lean as possible, it's easier to do it with cardio.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially just like being able to maintain more muscle. I think you can do it better with more food and then more cardio versus literally depriving yourself of nutrients to avoid cardio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was. That's the thing. So we can say I eat 3,000 calories and I'm doing the cardio, or you only eat 2,000 calories, but you do no cardio. But at one point, I'm just also telling myself, but at least my body was 1,000 calories. So he's going through that food, right?
Yeah.
I'm consuming this. The stuff goes through my body, so the nutrients are there, even though they get burned.
Yeah.
The energy was first up in. So my body, if he would needed it, would have been able to take it by when you just eat less and you move less. That's why I was thinking, if you just lay in bed, let's say, and you calculated out your calories, and then you go in a calorie deficit, and you do this for 1 month, and you just lay in bed, yeah, technically you will be shredded. But I don't know if it's in
physique
real life, it's going to come out like this.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't look as good. That's for sure. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in burning more and eating more. When I was working for my dad, I have to bring this in real quick. Back in the days, I worked for my dad, bricks company. I would have the tracker on. There was the Body Media band. I don't know if you remember those. They've been quite accurate. And I would burn 7,000 calories a day.
Holy shit.
But I was eating 6,000 calories a day. And I would be ripped as fuck, bro. I would be super shredded because I would go in the morning, eat 10 eggs, then go work for my dad, like bricks company. We are like building a house or something, like just pushing, burning all the calories off, then coming back for lunch, eating a shit ton for lunch, and then just keep working, then come back from work, eating again, go to the gym, eating, but burning so many calories and eating that much food, I would still be lean because I'm just eating in the maintenance.
Do you think that's why it seems like it's harder to get leaner now, because you're not doing like physical activity jobs and you're more like on your computer? Like, I guess you track your steps, so that shouldn't be the case. But I mean, I know for me personally, the fact that I sit on a computer all day, I have to like actively remind myself to like go walk and like do stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas before I used to like walk to school, walk to my job, walk to fucking everywhere. So.
Yeah, same with me. Like now, as we are working online, right, we are more on the computer, on the phone. And I swear to God, people are less likely to take a walk instead of driving. I would always see this, like, I would be like, we can take the stairs, they say, but there's the elevator. I'm just like, but you can also just walk. Everywhere I could walk, which is in walking range, I'll just walk instead of driving. And then I just say, like, if you would do the same, bro, maybe you can also decrease your calories, your cardio, or you can increase your calories because you would just be more active. I believe in a healthy lifestyle needs activity.
Okay. Do you have any like diet hacks or like tips, like certain foods you use to not cheat on your diet, or like what are your go-tos when you're getting like trying to get really lean? How do you not go insane? You know, because like some people, they just like can't. Obviously, your willpower is obviously better than like 99% of people, and that's why you can walk around this shredded all the time. It's not about the drugs. It's not about any of that shit. But obviously,
it's a good point.
In your diet, there must be like some things that you think are helpful to like stay fuller, I'm assuming. Do you have any suggestions on like your top?
So I found like I like warm drinks. The warm drinks, they kind of help me to get satisfied to like, I mean, usually when I'm drinking, I don't like cold drinks. So when I drink something warm, it would somehow satisfy this hunger feeling. So then I would be like, what can I drink? Zero drinks also did good. So I would brew tea. I would brew peppermint tea and drink loads of tea, like maybe like 3 liters or 4 liters of just warm tea where I put sweetener in. So it's a sweet, warm tea, which you just have a huge cup with you. And all the time I'm sitting there and I'm just keep drinking because your stomach is kind of full, so you don't feel hungry. But the downside is you need to run to the toilet 24/7. So much. But it helps so much to every time when you feel like you're hungry and you want to eat something, just go to the thing, go drink one big glass of warm tea. I guarantee you, you will be happy and good for another 20 minutes. And then once again, just get the tea.
Yeah.
That's one point. And then volume eating, making huge salad bowls. All the seeds, kidney beans, all that stuff, put it in, salad, broccoli, onions, cauliflower, mix all that stuff together, throw chicken in there or egg whites, and making like big bowls of food where you can eat like 2 kilograms, but less calorie dense foods. Like don't take calorie dense foods, like just skip rice, maybe switch it to potatoes because you can eat 5 times more, and just look for foods that are low in calories, high in fibers, and like having can add a lot of value to your whole foods. That's the thing.
Okay. What about the coffee? You
fasting
in your video, you had like a giant fucking thing of coffee. That was
every day, bro.
Yeah.
Wait. Here's my coffee.
Holy shit.
The cup.
So how much of
actually
that
a measurement cup?
Is that all decaf, or do you have a little bit of caffeinated in there?
Decaf, yeah, decaf. Sometimes I drink normal coffee, but mostly I'm drinking the decaf. So this is a similar thing to the tea, but now I'm bringing in almond milk for whatever is like. They have 200 milliliters, have 25 calories. So I would use maybe 400 milliliters, which is then 50 calories. And so I would drink that huge cup of warm liquid, which also is sweet and kind of tastes good, and also has some calories to it. So instead of eating a breakfast and delaying my breakfast for later during the day, I would have a huge cup of coffee. It's literally a similar thing than the tea, but the coffee has some calories. And I would even go like this. I would take whole fat milk, 300 milliliters, and that's my breakfast. That's all the energy I use for my workout. I would wake up having that 300 milliliters of milk in the coffee, obviously in the 1 liter of coffee, and that would already fuel my workout. And then I just straight up go to the gym, do my workout, cardio, and then have a huge meal afterwards.
Okay. So like how long after you've waken up do you typically have like your first real meal? Is it like quite a while? Or like how long do you
like I'm gonna eat once we are done here. That is now, I woke up at like 7, now it's 12. And I just had 2 of these coffees.
So you kind of do like a bit of intermittent fasting, sort of.
Yeah. It's a kind of intermittent fasting, but it's not really a fast because I would break the fast because I have milk.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's helpful.
But it still works. It works quite well for me with these cravings. What I mean with that, if you get the cravings, maybe some liquid which is sweet, some drink which is sweet, and it maybe has a few calories, or like a hot chocolate. You can take the cocoa powder, the unsweetened one, which is the pure raw cocoa powder, put it with boiling water, put some milk on it, some sweetness in, and you have a hot chocolate, which is really satisfying for you when you are hungry. And that's always just a short-term thing that keeps you pushing another 20 minutes, another 1 hour to delay your food intake again.
Right. Okay.
And I'm always eating a lot in the evenings. Yeah, that's it. So I would always try to delay my food to later in the day so I can eat a lot in the evenings. And then I'm full. Then I'm not like, if my stomach is empty, I can't sleep well.
Okay. So as far as like getting to your injury recovery and whatnot, how's everything going with you had the gyno removed, you had the bicep reattached, everything going smoothly, or any kind of hiccups, or how's stuff going?
Yeah, that's everything goes really well. I can't complain. The only thing is that when I move this arm, I'm feeling some kind of a click, 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 click inside, which I 100% I can't tell what it is. It is a bit scary because I'm just wondering, like, maybe did they, when cutting everything open on mistake, maybe cut through another tendon of my forearm somewhere or whatever,
Jeez.
So that's a bit scary. But beside that, I'm people looking at me like they say they can't believe. Just to touch on that real quick, I was using the peptides to recover.
Oh yeah. Which peptides are you using? Like, what did you end up doing?
The BPC 157 and the TB 500. Okay. Then the GHK copper I was also using.
Nice. What about GH? Did you end up using that too?
Yeah, GH also was using GH. 3 units, 2 units. Yeah.
Like, I guess it's kind of hard to tell if it helps because it's not like you've ever had your bicep pop off the fucking bone before. But do you think it's helping, or what do you think?
I really was even asking my friends who gave me these peptides. I was like, what do you think? Like,
Yeah.
let's say a normal, like the doctor tells you it's 8 weeks. Okay. So I'm like, and if I use the peptides, is it then 6 weeks or what? You know, like
Yeah.
no one could give you any reference of like, if you use this, your recovery will be faster. But then another of my friends said it might not speed up, but it may make it a stronger recovery. So it would heal more better in general, just like stronger and just preventing future tears.
True. So are you still using them right now, or are you off of them?
Yeah, now it's 7 weeks. I'm still using them.
Okay, cool.
Every day. Yeah.
Are you like allowed to train yet, or like what's the update on? Like I'm assuming.
Now, I mean, as soon as I was able to do something, I just went. I mean,
Okay.
I don't care what the doctor says.
Yeah.
As long as I can think that I can do it, I go and do it. Then the same thing, the gynecomastia, 10 days after I've been back in the gym. Not that I was training hard anyway, so anything. Since I tore my biceps, I'm having pussy workouts, to be honest. I'm doing a bit of legs here, a bit of this here. The first 4 weeks, I didn't do anything. Then I did something for like a week, like a bit of legs. Then I did remove the gynecomastia. So I did again not do anything for like 1 week again. And then now just slowly getting back. Now I start to pump up my triceps a bit, left and right arm, then the left, but not been training at all for like 7-8 weeks now. You know, sadly, because I see my physique is kind of like now it starts to fade a bit, but it's nothing that is not fixable with proper workout and nutrition.
No, you'll get it back super quick for sure. Do you think the aromatase inhibitor had something to do with the bicep tear? Because you mentioned like a lot of people, I don't think they realize, like it's not like it was obvious. You had gyno, like a little bit of gyno for a while, and I'm assuming you got that from one of the first like the like dumb cycles that we all did when you were younger, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just first up, it came like that. And then the one thing I can tell you is when I went to India, right, for this movie that I did bring all my supplements for the time of the stay. So then they extended the stay for like 3 weeks. And then I was like, yeah, and what am I going to do here now? I have no Arimidex with me. And then just within 1 week, it was already there.
Oh my God. Damn. So
and
like
then
this...
it was, and then once something grows, it's there, and it's just like I said, it can shrink, it can get smaller. And then I was on that point where it was really small if I suppress my estrogen that much.
Yeah.
But that would also long-term affect my tendons. And then the most important thing that I think had the biggest effect on tearing my biceps is the fact that I would record all my videos, everything, with the left hand. So you always would see me with the left side, all my Instagram videos, everything. So when, let's say I'm training, and every time I'm training, my left arm would have like 20 extra sets to get all these videos in. And after the last 2 years, I think over time that accumulated up to stress that arm too much, and that would just...
Yeah, because you do some pretty like aggressive like flexing videos too, like to get those shots with like your veins looking crazy and shit.
Yeah,
I guess after a while it like takes its toll, right?
Yeah, that's what I believe. And then also like being that kind of dry and being low in estrogen that much, over time it would have just did its damage.
Do you know what your blood work looked like when you were like suppressing your estrogen enough to not have gyno flaring up? Because I've seen your blood work that you sent me today. That's on no Arimidex, right?
Yeah. That's the thing is the last year when I was still on it, it was always not detectable. It always came back estrogen, not detectable.
Oh my God, dude. That's wild. Yeah. No, that's good that you got this removed, man, because that's like brutal for your heart, for your brain, for like everything.
Look, so then I would go back a month later to test again, not detectable. And I was like, fuck, dude, what can I do? But then I would stop the Arimidex or something. 1 week later, my nipples would burn and stuff. And I'm just like, what the hell can I do, man? I need to suppress it, but not because I want to look dry, but just because of the gyno will otherwise grow.
Yeah.
But then I don't want to suppress it because it would also not, it's not good if it's not detectable. So then like when I now came off the Arimidex and all that stuff for like the 7 weeks or 8 weeks, did the blood work, now it came back properly in range, which was making me super happy. It's also, my mood feels better now. It feels like now I'm I'm good set up.
Dude, when you're low estrogen,
I've
I've like mood swings, feeling depressed. Like I would stop caring. Even like when I took letrozole when I was younger, when I was trying to like dry out back when I used to cut on like Transmasteron and all that kind of shit. I took letrozole to kill my estrogen to get like dry. I literally stopped giving a fuck about women entirely. I was just like asexual, didn't give a shit about anything. I stopped talking to girls. I was just like, fuck everything. Like nothing matters in life. Just super like nothing, like everything in life just like feels, it's like black and white. Like there's no color in life. Yeah.
People underestimate that thing. That is why it's also not just get the next best test bottle from your local dealer and start to shooting it. No, man.
Yeah.
It's about, you need to, if you do this, you need to make sure that you go to the doctor and you check something is in range, or if it's just not in range, because it would affect your overall life too much, just too much. And that's the thing. Like I went to the blood work, then check this. Then I would even have another video from a blood work, which I checked, and then my test was shit, because then I come back, I'm natural, and I'm just like, technically I couldn't be natural because I'm on test replacement therapy, but it means then that my product is not good, which then comes back to this point, there's not the best gear in Thailand. But yeah, I definitely am really happy that my estrogen now is back in range, makes you feel better and all that. So if someone wants to take gear, go ahead, but also consider the fact that you might sometimes need to spend some money on doing blood works. Just real quick, Tony, this is the most genuine guy that I know. He's since, let's say, he had the flu.
He
had it, nah? And then since he's over it, he was do his blood work 3 times already. So he would anyways almost weekly be there, checking this, doing this, checking it, maybe taking GH, immediately checking if the GH is any good and all that stuff, and just like checking on the things, because thinking like, how I feel like, oh, maybe I think my estrogen is in range. I think this is good. I think, what you think might not be true. And you need the actual data to make sure that your performance is good.
Yeah. This is like why I always talk about like the importance of having normal estrogen levels, because so many TRT clinics will just throw people on Arimidex just because they think you need to have like estrogen's bad, needs to be like 0 in order to be, more masculine, because men shouldn't have estrogen, and it'll fuck you up, dude. Like it'll make your dick not work, make you more prone to injury, make you feel terrible, make you depressed.
Obviously, so in my opinion, the approach would be let your estrogen come up, and then try to suppress it to a healthy range or level, instead of just trying to say like in general it's just shit. Like this is like people that say, even you should anyways use the Arimidex, Romacin or something, or Letrozole, and then just like, no, dude, because you should just not use it at all. And then once you think you start to get high estrogen, that's when you start to bring it in. And then you bring it in if it's a fact that it's high, and not just like because you are thinking it's high. It's probably better to check real quick and then just try to keep it in some range. Obviously, having it too high is also not good. Makes you feel moody and like a girl somehow a bit.
Like your gyno video where you were talking about, this was like before the injury and before everything, you were kind of touching on how you just need to kind of get it removed so you don't have to deal with the aromatase inhibitors. And like I agree that like for you, you're so sensitive to it that if you literally need to take an AI just to run like TRT, like at that point, surgery is definitely a no-brainer for sure. And I think a lot of people definitely need to think about that.
I don't mind even to come out with one thing. I won't mind to come out. So let's say, look, so I have a girlfriend, right? So so I want to have some fun, right? So So I'm not using the Arimidex, so I let my estrogen come back up. So my performance is good. In bed. Then I would get the gyno again. I'm like, fuck, my nipples, bro. Shit, I need to take the tablet. Then you might take, because then you're like, oh my God, I need to fix this real quick. So then you might take a whole Arimidex tablet instead of maybe taking a quarter or half a tablet. Then you suppress the estrogen too much again. Then your performance is shit again. Then you're like, oh my God, then you let your estrogen come back up. Then the gyno starts again. Then, so it was always like, it was a hell, like a circle of hell, bro. Like I was not sure, like, how can I fix this? The only thing that I knew is I need to remove this. Otherwise I will never find my peak.
Like when your estrogen's low too, even if you take Cialis, even if you take Viagra, like you'll still have shitty, not high quality erections. Like it's not, you can't even function when your estrogen's in the toilet. So like, I think anybody who literally needs an aromatase inhibitor to not get gyno on like TRT amounts, like my first suggestion is always like increase your injection frequency to like more frequent pinning with smaller amounts to see if you can get away with removing the AI. Because for some people that works, going to like daily like micro shots, but above and beyond that, saving up for gyno surgery, because you can't live on a Arimidex like crushing your estrogen to single digits or undetectable like your whole life. It'll fuck you up, like your heart.
That's
you in the bedroom.
What my doctor said also back in the days. He was like, bruh, long term you really need to try to fix this, because you can't. And then I just said, yeah, but what should I do, dear doctor? I take out the AIs and then I would get the gyno. Then they say, yeah, use tamoxifen. Bruh, I use tamoxifen, raloxifene, clomiphene. It would just somehow not work for me for whatever reason. I would still have the problems. I would feel my nipples are sensitive and stuff. So I was like, if people have an issue with that stuff, and at one point you might consider the surgery.
Yeah, honestly, I think as fucked up as it sounds, I think the bicep thing might have been like a blessing in disguise, because when you were injured, you were like, okay, I'm injured anyway, so I'm going to get the gyno taken out, which maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. And now you can get your estrogen up. Whereas, like, besides the fact that it made you injury prone, like, eventually that would have fucked up your heart, dude. So it's good that you got that removed.
I tell you real quick, I was having the time of my life, like the last 6-8 weeks and stuff. Even because I have my girlfriend, this is such a great time, even though my biceps was fucked. But just because like my hormones were in balance.
Yeah.
While before that, I was crushing my estrogen and stuff, and I would just still be like not feeling good.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad you got that sorted, because that's like long term, that would have definitely fucked you up. So I'm glad to hear that. And I think it was a blessing in disguise for sure.
It already fucked up the biceps kinda, and then it's that I'm already was like 1-2 years on the AIs anyway, right?
Yeah.
It was weird because it all started after this India thing. Before that, I would use my TRT and not use any AI, because I would have just not needed it. And then once the lump would grow, once it was there, it would always start to do something. It would always either then go bigger, and it would be like today in the morning I wake up, it's super small. In the evening, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, anyways, my gyno wasn't like crazy big. We're just talking about like a small nut.
But knowing that it could have gotten worse, if you left it. So
exactly.
And obviously for you taking pictures all the time, like eventually it would have gotten to a point where it would be obvious and like, affect your physique and whatnot. So that's good, man, that you got that shit sorted. I think we've been on for like 2 hours already, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, bro. I need to make a move also, because my Thai teacher is coming now.
Okay.
Really, thanks a lot for the video. It was great to talk. Yeah. I mean, I think we've exposed, or we've given a lot of information about myself and what I did, and maybe some good experience review, or like something that people can listen to and make their resume themselves, make some decisions by the stuff that they were now hearing from us. And trust us. I mean, I always just want the best for everyone. If I say something, I really just want to help people, and I just mean it good. I don't want to. I've never been a sellout in my life. Like, I've never just tried to go for the money part and fuck everything else. Just really, if I say something, I really mean it, and I really just try to help people and inspire and motivate and spread good vibes, have a good time, and that's it.
Appreciate your transparency, man. I appreciate you coming on, talking about all this stuff. Not a lot of people would be open and honest about this stuff, and definitely helping the younger generation, especially, educate themselves on how to stay safer, on how to not fuck themselves up, and inspiring at the same time, man. So I appreciate it. And let me sign off here.